Welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast, and what a night it was for the Sacramento Kings. It was an ugly game. 20-plus turnovers in a game on the road. That should be a fat L. 48 points in the first half. Maybe it's just not the Kings' night, but they found a way. It was dramatic. Harrison Barnes fouled DeMar DeRozan on a three-pointer and one. When it was a 4-point game, it was tied at 114. But don't get it twisted. De'Aaron Fox says, "It is my time. I am Mr. Clutch. Give me the ball and get out of my way." He had 12 points in the fourth until he hit the game-winning three-pointer with 0.7 of a second to go. The Kings go on the road to the Windy City and beat the Bulls, who have been playing good basketball, 117 to 114. They're now back to the number 2 seed in the NBA's Western Conference. Most importantly, 9-2 since the All-Star break. And they reached a milestone, 41 wins. I'm Juice Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. How are you doing tonight, Mo?
Oh, I'm doing great because you know how I love drama. And there was drama. There was drama at the end of that game. And I mean, whether you want to see it end that way or not because it's your team.
Yeah.
Mr. Clutch, baby. Let's go.
It was big-time stuff from De'Aaron Fox at the end of this game. It was really, really nice.
114. Kings out of timeouts. They used their last one for the challenge. Fox advances the dribble across the logo. 5 seconds to go. It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple. 0.7 of a second remaining. The three-point shot will be reviewed. It's not over yet, but fourth quarter Fox has come through one more time. Now, are they reviewing to see if it's a 2 or a 3? DeRozan says it's a 3. All right. Three-point goal is good. Fox puts the Kings on top with 0.7 of a second to go. Well, from the length of the floor, here's the inbound. And it's broken up by Fox. Great anticipation. It was intended for Levine, and the Kings will walk off the floor with a victory to open this road trip.
Is it wild that a great call can make me like almost tear up? G-Man, fantastic last call. Wow.
Big time stuff from the G-Man Gary Gerald. De'Aaron Fox so poised in that situation. He finishes tonight leading the Kings in scoring with 32 points. He had 15 of those in the fourth quarter. He did on 12 of 17 shooting, 4 of 6 from downtown in this game. And the Kings escape with a victory in Chicago, 117 to 114. Morgan, I know the fog's really getting to you right now.
No,
If
don't talk about it. I'm good. Well, let's just like pretend it's not here.
It's hard to pretend when you got your face like this.
I'm fine.
Okay, hang in there, okay? The windows are open. So, big-time performance from
Where am
De'Aaron
I?
Fox tonight. Morgan, this game was ugly, but what this shows me again is that this team's just beyond legit. Like, stop questioning this team and what they are, okay?
Yup.
They are a good team, and they have come out of the All-Star break. They are 9-2 out of the break. And tonight was one of those games that was ugly. They only mustered 48 points in the first half. They couldn't get anything going. Mike Brown was using some crazy-ass lineups without the services of Trey Lyles, who's missing tonight with a 1-game suspension. He was trying some different things. It wasn't working out. They were throwing the ball everywhere. In the game, the Kings finished with 20 turnovers, but they get it going in the second half. A big third quarter with 37. Then the fourth, they had 32, and they win 117 to 114. Good teams find a way to win ugly. They won ugly tonight.
There's so many things I did not like about this game. And for them to still pull out the win, and in so many ways, late, it felt like they had the confidence and the control. Like, oh no, we know we're gonna win this one, and not, oh no, we're gonna win this one, so we're being lackadaisical. It's like once they took the lead or kept making it a tie game, it still felt like they were the better team. They were the more confident team. And they are, especially going up against the Bulls, but. We were worried going into this game. Zach LaVine has been on a tear, and I think he scored below his average as of late. And it's what the Kings offense can create late in a game. Malik Monk being a spark off the bench like he is, Deuce. It's that type of play that just makes this Kings team come to another level late in games.
It's not going to be pretty every night. And tonight was a great example. I feel like the Kings looked a little tired for whatever reason. And by the way, the Bulls had 3 days off. They came out of the break playing some good basketball. As of today, going into the game, they were 5-3 after the break. In fact, Vegas thought this game was going to be a close one. They had the Kings favored by like a point and a half. We should also know Alex Caruso did not play in this game. But the Bulls coming into tonight after the All-Star break were 6th in defensive rating, and they were 3rd in offensive rating. It seemed like they have gotten things going. You mentioned Levine being on an absolute tear. He wasn't as impactful tonight from an efficiency standpoint. He had 25 points on 7 of 22. DeRozan, unbelievable. The guy who never hits threes, knocks down 4 of them tonight. And talk about big ones. He had 2 threes and 1, including that one in the late that was trash.
Well, isn't it
and not
odd?
that the shot wasn't trash. It was a trash call.
And we'll talk about that in a second, because isn't it odd, though, that all these point guards out there or guards, they all of a sudden can shoot well against the Sacramento Kings? I mean, what has Russell Westbrook done this year against the Kings beyond the arc? And then you see DeMar DeRozan, who is just incredible in the mid-range game, but then shoots from deep against the Kings and even gets the and one at the end. It sucks when you see it happen, and it does make you question the Kings defense and if teams just feel more confident, or players, individuals feel more confident when shooting against a team like the Kings. You still got to do a better job, but at the same time, he's their leading scorer. He's a guy that carries them all throughout the season.
Let's start just talking about De'Aaron Fox, Morgan, because it's really outrageous what he is doing. And after he hit the shot, you saw him mouth, "I'm fucking nice." And that, I think, speaks volumes to where he is with his confidence.
Yes.
Tonight, I thought he took 2 questionable shots.
Okay.
And they were his 2 threes late. He had that one in the corner that was a force, and another one. He shot that last one with so much confidence. He was efficient tonight. You know, the Kings were sloppy with the ball. He had 5 turnovers. He had some really bad passes tonight. But in general, that guy is so poised. I thought he hit that dagger late in the game.
Now Fox against Cody White. Crosses to his right. Pulls up. 18-footer. He's got the bucket. The fourth quarter closer, De'Aaron Fox, has given the Kings a 112-106 advantage with 41 seconds to go. 12 for Fox in the fourth quarter.
I thought that was it. I thought it was all over. Of course, it got more dramatic. We'll get into it. But De'Aaron has 180 clutch points scored this season. That's ahead of Jimmy Butler by 42. We talk about this new clutch award like he is getting it, but forget the award for a second.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about this guy has been taking over fourth quarters all year, hitting big shots. Even if he's kind of struggling, it's like, hey, fourth quarter's here. Here comes Fox. And tonight, he hit some huge shots. And then, of course, that big three-pointer to win it.
Deuce, and it's translating into W's.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest part about all this. I remember in the beginning of the season when the Kings were 0-4 and De'Aaron Fox was, playing out of his mind. And I wanted to talk shit to so many people about how good he was and the leap that he had taken, but they weren't winning games. And now, since then, I mean, you've just seen this team grow, develop together with De'Aaron Fox being one of their 2 main leaders out there and truly having so many moments like this where teams know they game plan against De'Aaron Fox, knowing what he can do in a fourth quarter and still can't stop it.
The shot's gone so much better. And
so much better.
For a guy who is so fast, his ability to just kind of slow down and make something happen has been tremendous. And the growth, he's turned into one of the league's best players. And I'm not trying to do a hot take thing here. He's not going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
But you're going, look, we're this deep in this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Luka is being named in there in the top 5. Mm-hmm. He's missing time now. That team's below 500. Fox is going to get some MVP votes this year. I think Giannis is going to win it. To me, it's like Giannis and Embiid at this point. Jokic dropping a little bit. You can put Tatum in the mix. De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Look at what he's doing this year.
It's so, I mean, to me, I wasn't even saying this the other day until the game against the Sacramento Kings. It's so obvious that it's Giannis as of right now, but people can, it's still close with Joel Embiid right there. Being able to put De'Aaron Fox even in the conversation, sometimes I do question myself. I go, oh, is that my Kings biases because I'm watching him every single night. But what I'm watching every single night with De'Aaron Fox out there is MVP caliber play when you're carrying your team to a victory at the end of a game and no one can stop you. I mean, isn't that when it matters most, right? And putting it, the win-loss columns, isn't that what matters at the end of the day? So to so many people, that is their curriculum. What would it be for MVP? Their
criteria.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, why can't I think of that with the C word? Their criteria.
It's a good C
I
word,
know.
yeah.
I know their criteria for an NBA MVP, and I feel like he's checking a lot of those boxes.
Yeah, and he's not going to win it.
No.
I'm aware. I'm
No,
just
no,
saying,
no.
we're talking about MVP like conversation. I'm like, he's going to get some votes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying first place votes or anything like that. He is playing that great. What is crazy, though, is like you could also make a case for Sabonis as well for how good he has been.
Yeah.
The Kings are the number 2 seed, and all of a sudden you look at what's happening in the Western Conference right now, Morgan, and it's like, dude, they're making a huge push here where the conversation after the break, after the All-Star break, after the deadline was, are the Kings going to be able to stay in the top 6? Well, to me, they're in a position now to just stay in the top 3. You know what I mean? Like, looking at the standings right now, it looks pretty good for Sacramento. They are moved into the 2 spot, and because Denver's fallen apart a little bit here, they've lost 4 in a row. They should be able to get it together. Maybe it's just a late in the season thing for that group. I don't know, but Murray looks like he's limping around. Porter couldn't defend me out there at this point, and Jokic has not had his finest moments out there recently. They've lost 4 in a row. The lead is down to 4.5 for the number 1 seed. Sacramento and Memphis tied in the Western Conference, so Memphis is number 3. Morant gets back in a couple of games. So that's going to impact things, but they're still like, they were losing with Morant too, so who knows what that looks like. And then on the Suns, who are the 4 spot right now, the Kings' lead on the Suns has ballooned. It's at, what is that? I should do math. 4.5.
Good.
It's at 4.5, and they're in a position to have the tiebreaker. I know they play one more time, and then they've got a nice lead on Golden State and the Clippers too. Like, the Kings are in a great position here to have home court advantage in the first round.
And that's why games like this really do matter. And that's why I was a little confused with some of those rotations in the beginning of this game. I was a little disappointed in Mike Brown at first. Again, ends up with a win. Some guys get other minutes. You're not tiring out your guys for a big game against the Nets tomorrow on a 4-game road trip. All those things. They know what they're doing. I'm full on trusting what Mike Brown is doing. But it felt a little weird when Alex Len went in there, only because he hasn't been in. And then the lineups that he was with.
Yeah. I felt like the lineups were very weird tonight, especially in that first half, because the Kings were clearly kind of a mess, but Davion came in a little earlier than usual. Usually he comes in at like the 6-minute mark, sometimes a 5. He came in at the 7:04 mark, and that was fine. So they bring Mitchell in. But then later in that quarter at the 3:14 mark, Kings get off to the slow starts, 21-15. They go with Mitchell, Monk, Kessler Edwards, Chimeze Metu, and Sabonis. And I'm looking at that lineup going, wait, how is Sabonis supposed to get anything going with no spacing? He already gets so much attention as it is. Like, this is going to be relatively easy for the Bulls to defend when you've got Mitchell, who's not known as a shooter, Kessler Edwards, who, I don't know. I think we're still learning if, like, is his shot legit or not? It's been hit or miss, whatever. We know Metu can't space the floor. He's like a 25% three-point shooter, and Sabonis can't. That was weird. And then it got weirder because then they take Sabonis out late in that quarter, and they go with Funk. I combined Fox and Monk. Actually, that's not bad.
Hey,
Funk.
I love the funk.
Fox, Monk, Kessler Edwards, Metu, and Len. Your front line to Chimeze Metu and Alex Len.
Well, the interesting part is you look at those lineups and you do see one of your 2 guys, Sabonis or Fox.
Yeah, but they waited too long to get those guys back on the floor at the same time.
Agreed. And in it sucked because it felt like they built something good to start the game, and then once they started going with those rotations, those lineups, was when the Bulls started fighting back. Now that it's the NBA, that happens. It's a game of runs. It's going to happen anyway. And I know if we weren't talking about the rotations, we might be complaining about the amount of minutes that De'Aaron Fox played. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, and in all fairness, at the Kings, with all those different lineups, they were able to get back in the game, right? They end up in the first quarter only being down 5, and it felt like, God, they're just not playing good basketball. At one point in the second quarter, you're looking up, and it's like halfway through, and they've got 9 turnovers, and you're going, they got to clean this up if they're going to have a chance to win. Shots weren't falling at all. The 3-point shot wasn't falling, and they were trying different things. They end up being down at the half, 58-48, and we're going, it's not often you see the Kings struggle to get 48 points. I mean, we've seen them score 40-plus in a quarter multiple times this year. 48 at a half? It was bizarre.
Yeah, which made it not pretty. It wasn't as fun, right? Because, I mean, when they're not having their fun, free-flowing offense and scoring a bunch of buckets, it's not usually like they're dominating on the defensive end. Now, they held their own defensively. There was still, a 10-point deficit at the half?
Yeah.
So it was still scary. You never want to go into halftime being down like that, especially in third quarters. I know now this season, it seems like Kings have just done so much better in the second half of games and making their adjustments at the half. And Mike Brown holds his standards high for third quarters, and you can't just screw up. Otherwise, you're going to come out of the game. So it was great to see the way that they faced adversity, they fought back. And I think that's our main point of this whole game, is the way that they ended up finishing this one. Yeah. Now, late though, it did get a little scary too with when was it Levine that got that dunk and then it became a 3-point game, and it was like, why aren't we putting any pressure on him? The game is not over. I know you don't want to draw the foul, but you got to do something a little bit more something.
Yeah, it was just a wild game, and it felt like the Kings just could not get any consistent rhythm offensively because of the passing.
Yeah.
And the Bulls have a good defense. I get it, but like some of the passing by the Kings tonight, it was just poor decision making. I mean, when you get 5 turnovers from Fox, I think you had 3 from Keegan Murray in 29 minutes. You had 3 from Sabonis in 40. I mean, the guy was really good. He had triple-double, 14, 17, and 10. It's hard to criticize what he did out there tonight. But then, you go to your bench, and Davion had 3 turnovers in 15 minutes.
Oh.
Malik Monk had 3 turnovers in 23 minutes. All of a sudden, you add them all up, you got 20 turnovers turning into 23 points. You're going, God, if the Kings just hold on to the ball a little bit tonight, they probably run away with this game.
That's it. And that's where I mean, the criticism will go into the game, but I still want to ride the wave of the joy.
Sure, yeah.
What De'Aaron Fox did. No, and I'm the one that brought all that up, and then I'm realizing, well, it was fun what Sabonis and Monk were doing in the 2-man game. Oh, you saw Kevin Huerter moving without the basketball there for a backdoor cut. Malik Monk knocking down some threes. A lot of fun stuff in this one as well.
Yeah, the fourth quarter is back and forth. 99-94 Chicago nearing the halfway point of the quarter. You're like, is this thing going to fall apart? And then Fox, then it gets cut to 2, which was great. Then Sabonis was able to get them the lead. It was a nice response. It was 100-99. And you're going, what is happening? Can we take better shots? You got a turnover, then a Fox air ball from 3. And it seemed like you're just hanging around. The tough sequence was when it was 102-99 after a Fox jumper, right? Then HB fouls DeRozan on a 3.
DeRozan makes the 3.
He makes the 3. And they go, we got to review this. I just don't like this call in the NBA. It's the Zaza Pachulia rule. So they go review it, call it a flagrant foul because he went in the landing area. I'm not just saying this because it went against the Kings. Yeah, I'm talking about the first time.
The first one. Did he make that one too?
Yes.
Oh, God. He made that one.
They review it, say it's a flagrant foul. And I don't know. I just felt like watching it, maybe it was the one angle they were showing on TV where I'm like, what are you supposed to do as a defender in that? Because it definitely looked like DeRozan jumped forward into it. It didn't look totally natural. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in DeRozan 3-point shots. Hell, he doesn't take many of them.
Yes.
But that one looked a little unnatural to me.
I thought his momentum took him forward rather than like kicking out his foot, which again, either way though.
It was definitely he moved forward more. It wasn't kicking out the foot. Either way, Barnes, I guess, was in his landing area. And I just go, as a defender, what are you supposed to? You need to contest the shot.
It's tough. It's Deuce, that doesn't, I mean, I was going to say it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens more than you'd think. And I want the shooter to be safe. you know?
Yeah, Todd and Chrono, I always mess it up. It's Chronometer. Why do I mess that up? He's in our Discord all the time. It says that's just how he shoots. He moves forward a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, and you could be right. I'm not going to sit here and like argue that. It just didn't seem like HB was really trying to close out super hard on him. This is my point.
And that's what sucks about it. It's like I wish there was something more about the intent of the defender, right? Like it's you're trying to protect, but you hope that Harrison Barnes doesn't stop closing out like that just because a shooter has a tendency of jumping forward on their shot, right?
Yeah.
Just because they don't jump up on their shot and they jump out, that shouldn't be on you to be like, oh, I got to really study up on every personnel, so I got to close out differently in the heat of the moment.
That was a tough sequence because, of course, he buried the three. It's a flagrant foul, so you get, on that situation, you get 2 free throws to make 1, right? So it makes the first one. Then they get the ball. Luckily, they did not score, but all of a sudden, they've got the lead again. You're like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And so that was frustrating, but the Kings responded. And then late in the game, you think the Kings have control when they're up 6, 112, 106, and then it gets a little crazy, right? I think you mentioned some of the plays late, but the one call that we would be complaining about nonstop after the game had De'Aaron Fox not made that shot and they lost in overtime or whatever, if they just lost that game, what happened when DeRozan gets fouled again on a 3.
15.7 trying to deflect. Inbounds pass goes to Vucevic. 4-point Kings lead to DeRozan. He fires for 3. He's got it and he was fouled. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that the Kings made that mistake. Harrison Barnes was screened off, but somehow he made contact, and it's going to be DeRozan with a chance to tie.
Okay. They showed the replay. Harrison Barnes.
Got him.
You made a hitting motion. There was no hitting. There was maybe even like this. He grazed it. Like if anything, you know what they called?
What?
He touched his elbow and it was so light it tickled him. It tickled DeRozan. It tickled him. He's like, and he made the shot.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Harrison, you can't tickle in that situation.
Yeah, you got to stop tickling, guys. That's weird.
You just can't tickle in that moment of the game. Morgan, I'm sorry. And I know the last 2-minute report's going to say, no, it was a foul. That's a foul in today's game. We're calling that a foul. If they don't call that a foul, does DeRozan even complain about it? It did nothing to the shot. It did nothing.
I understand completely what you're saying. And I don't think anyone is wrong for saying that. But at the same time, I look at it, if roles were reversed, I would want that call.
Stop it. Are you serious?
I mean, now listen to me really quick before you interrupt with a lot of emotion. And this is completely different, so don't interrupt. Beginning of the season, Kevin Huerter gets clobbered by Klay Thompson. They don't call a foul at all.
Clobbered is right.
Clobbered.
Yes.
Not tickled, clobbered. And they don't call it. And being on the other side of things, it's really frustrating when it's like, if that's deemed a foul, you got to be fair. It's deemed a foul. You got to call it. And that's why I'm like.
If we're calling that contact,
I get it.
Morgan.
I get it.
There's plays in a game they don't call that contact, and you're going to call it at the end of a game.
I'm usually on the side of things that you're on right now, but I'm just trying to be more fair toward these things.
I just look at it and go, Harrison tried everything he could do not to touch him, and he may have. There's some people who don't think he even touched him. I'd have to see more replays. We're doing this pretty soon after the game, but the replays I saw on the broadcast, it was like, if anything, he might have lightly touched him. It didn't alter the shot. And you're going, this is how this game is going to go?
And
this is how it's going to go?
Maybe the physical touch, because it was when the ball was still in his hand, maybe the physical touch is what altered the shot, the tickle.
It tickled in. It tickled
in. But
and look, again, people are going to say it's contact, it's a foul. It's fine. I'm not going to sit here and argue all day about this because I just look at that situation and go, I don't think it impeded on him. The contact was minimal. This game, believe it or not, it's going to have contact. You're going to have contact in the game.
Know.
Is that contact worthy enough to call an and one in that game? I don't think so. But
DeRozan also sold it.
Yeah, well, good for him. And you should do that.
Exactly. And
Yeah, it was
smart.
that's a clutch shot. That's a big-time shot. You're down 4. That's what you need to do. And he knocked it in. DeRozan was really good tonight. He was really good tonight.
Really
so I'm
good.
not being a hater. I don't like. I'm starting to get sensitive to this now because Bucks fans were hitting us up like crazy
my
the
God,
other
they're
night.
so evil.
And now, like, I don't want Bulls fans going, Deuce, Kings fans, take your beam and shove it up your ass, huh?
And that's why too, though. I mean, honestly, really honestly, if roles were reversed, you would still want that call. You would want that call.
I would not.
Oh, come on, Deuce.
Because I don't think it's a foul. I would be like, yeah, I mean, you can call it. And again, I'm sure the NBA is going to say it was a foul in the last 2-minute report.
Right.
But
physical touch.
My pushback is like that is such a light touch that is disgusting.
That's fine.
It's disgusting. Sabonis, there was a game a couple of games ago. I don't know if you guys even saw the replay. At one point, I think Giannis and Brook Lopez were just cold cocking, like punching him in the face. Multiple refs didn't see it. They didn't call. They thought, hey, the guy's going after a rebound.
Sabonis never made it to the free throw line, and I loved it because I posted that photo of Brook Lopez holding his arm while he was going for a dunk, and he did not even shoot a free throw that night. And I'm always along the lines like, yeah, refs are gonna miss things, blah blah blah, whatever. But you have a guy like Domas who has not only earned the respect, but is down there battling with scratches and punches along his body all game long. Like you gotta protect him a little bit.
One of my favorite things about tonight.
What?
Mike Brown saved his challenge and was able to challenge in that moment.
I know.
That's what I would have been sick if they were not able to challenge it.
Yeah.
And luckily they did, and he lost it. But that's why you have those late in the game, is to challenge in those situations. But at the end of it, they tie the game at 114, and De'Aaron Fox, clutch. Unbelievably clutch. And that's not the only thing tonight. Domantas Sabonis with another triple-double. He is second in the NBA in triple-doubles. He moved past Luka tonight. So he's having an unbelievable season too.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's been fun. Like we said the other day, the Sacramento Kings are getting so much love and they deserve all the love. And I think when you look at our Kings community and some of these numbers the records that they're breaking within the Kings organization, Will Ziad's tweeted out that De'Aaron Fox is now only 1 game behind Chris Webber for most 30-point games in Kings history.
That's insane.
Yep.
Dude. It's really insane what he's doing this year. And I think I realize I've said insane like 800 times this year.
Say it again.
Insane.
You know what?
This whole season, insane.
I've been using the word wild a lot.
Wild.
Because I stopped using crazy as much, and then I started going to wild. I need to use a different one.
Yeah.
So.
You want to hear some De'Aaron Fox after the game? Mark Jones and Katie Christensen talked to him.
All right, De'Aaron Fox joining us right now. De'Aaron, what a thrilling finish to that ball game. You ended up with 32 points. Take us through the time that the ball goes through the hoop for the free throw for Chicago, and then you walk it up court and end up with the game winner. What was your thought pattern?
I mean, just get a good shot. I didn't know if they were gonna hit, which is a double team for most teams.
Right.
I didn't know if they were gonna double, and once it got to 4 seconds, and I was like, they're not gonna double. I knew I could just pick a spot and raise up, and the ball went in.
We talk so much about the trust that Mike Brown has in both you and Domantas Sabonis. In that situation, is that your call completely? Are you getting the ball in out of bounds and he's putting it all on your plate saying, I trust you implicitly?
Yeah, obviously with that time we didn't have a timeout, but even at times when we do have a timeout, Domas and I will just tell him don't call it. I tell him if I want a ball screen, he'll set it. And I tell him if a team is going to double team the ball screen, I'm going to hit him early and he makes a play. And if I don't feel like a team is going to double team, then I go make a play. So, yeah, I mean, he puts a lot of responsibility on us. And as the leaders of this team, we have to be able to step up and take that responsibility.
A little bit earlier, you had hunted Kobe White, it seemed, in a little screen action. Was that something deliberate on your part, or did it just work out that way?
For me, a lot of times I try to get guys who are smaller, not necessarily what people would call bad defenders. I'm more so looking for someone who's not 6'7", 6'8", with a 7-foot wingspan, so I can get to a spot and just shoot over them. So that's pretty much what that was.
I got to ask you about Domantas Sabonis, his 4th triple-double, De'Aaron, in the last 5 games. Can you talk about the mentality that you're seeing from him as you guys are ramping up to finish out this regular season strong and get where you want to be in the postseason?
We talk about this all the time, man. He does so much for us, and I mean his approach to the game is just very steady. Obviously, you're not going to have a great game every time out, but even when he's not having good games, obviously he's going to grab 15 boards. He's going to score 15 points. Obviously, he has the ball in his hands a lot. He creates for us so much, even if the turnovers are high some games. He still creates so much offense for us. So, I mean, we ride him for a majority of the game, and then obviously in the fourth quarter, I think my scoring really helps us.
De'Aaron, did that feel at all, the ending of that game in particular, like Orlando? I mean, it was eerily similar, the way you walked it up court, except this time you didn't pull from like 30.
Yeah, I think this is a much better shot 23? This time. Much better shot this time. But, yeah, I mean, obviously DeMar hit the free throw. I mean, he made a lot of big shots for them tonight, and especially with the game tied. I mean, there's not a lot of pressure. You miss, you go to overtime. So, but for me, I'm confident in taking any shot at the end of the game.
De'Aaron, thanks a lot for joining us, bro. You are playing at an all-NBA level right now. Big win on the road to start off this 4-game road trip. I'm sure that Baby Rain is going to sleep pretty well after that jumper tonight.
I don't know if he's going to sleep well. I can't tell you if he's going to sleep well just because of that.
Yeah.
There's De'Aaron Fox and Mark Jones and Katie Christensen on NBC Sports California after that Kings win tonight. Yeah. I mean, he's done it all year, man. And to see where he is at this point compared to this point last year, what a time. What a time.
It's
all we all saw this, like, we're like, he could be this, but now it's getting to a level where you're going all NBA. Yes.
The thing that I think surprises me the most, you guys, is the giant leap that was taken this season. I was expecting like a leap. Oh, we're going to see him do so many things better. Maybe Mike Brown will bring some defense out of him. It's like it was all there, but the right people are really digging out of him. He's digging it out of himself to really be the player that he was supposed to be in the NBA.